back in the game, 77. Evening, mate. James Zeta, there's a name for the past. Not seen you for a while, James. Hope you're well. Is that better? It was acting a little bit funky there. Geordie Rundell. Is that better, Geordie? I can see 2-3 names, but it says 14. It's bizarre. Right, we'll go with that. It says 14, but I see 3 names in the comments, so. So Sunday, somebody asked me how my weekend was. The weekend was fine. How you doing, Mark? Hope you're well, mate, at work. Hope everything's fine, mate, with the family and stuff. Andrew Taylor. Andy Taylor, how you doing, buddy? Hope you're good, Andrew. Hope you're well, mate. So there's a lot happening, and I was down for a family funeral down near London, and my dad's brother. He lived a great life, he did very well in life, successful man, good family, my cousins, and so that's my dad's older brother, hell of a man, and my cousin's man was doing the spiel, the speech, but he forgot to read out page 2 as he was turning over, he missed a bit out about us, so he was all upset about it. He came over and explained, but it wasn't an issue, it never is. It's nice to see them. Shame about the circumstances, but it was nice to catch up with them. Don't see enough of them. They're good people. It's an interesting place down there. No one budges for you in the traffic, no one gives you an inch. But that aside, I had an interesting journey home. I deviated into Rochdale, as some of you know, and I was looking to bump into none other than George Galloway. George Galloway, while my hashtag Shine a Light was trending a few years ago with the Glasgow stuff, George had commented on it and people were hashtagging him about me, and he'd made a statement saying, very damning if true, blah blah blah, and that was kind of the last I heard of him, although he did reach out in a way, but it never materialised to anything, which these people get tens of thousands of messages a day. I know how that feels, because at the time I was getting insane messages, but they get it constantly all the time. So nothing happened. Why was I trying to reach out to him? Not because I'm politically motivated by any of what they're doing. It's because he's got a large platform. An interesting thing occurred during the live. I hope you've seen it. The news channels were still there. I avoided a couple of them initially because I just don't agree with them. But Sky were there, one of the terrestrial UK ones, and RTE from the Republic of Ireland were there. And if you listen to the chat, when we're talking about what it is I'm doing, the guy says, oh, that's a can of worms, we don't want to go there with that one. I didn't put them on camera, but they did, Andrew, they did shit themselves, you're right. But the guy was a very prominent, very prominent Irishman, an Irish news correspondent. He's on all the channels, and he's very well regarded. But I try not, the only time I really stick a camera in somebody's face is when they need lighting up, because at that point you've forsaken your human rights and any rights to anonymity. So I was respectful to them, but it was really interesting. And when he said about not elaborating and opening that can of worms, Andrew, you would have noticed this. He basically then patronised me, okay? I wasn't going to get into a ding dong with him, I wasn't going to tell him I thought he was a prick. But I did, and he did patronise me, because he said, oh, you go and sort it out then, it was like the big man chat, like, when you go big man, you go and sort it out. There'd have been a time where he'd have been throat punched for that level of, back chat and smart chat and being a smart aleck, and also being a journalist, right? Being a legit, alright OG, being a legit journalist, badged up, sanctioned. My ears would have pricked up there and I would have said, what did you say there? About what? What is it you do? You do that? Oh, I want to talk to you. Wait a sec. So that's what I would have done, right? I would basically have then said to that guy, have you got 10, 15 minutes, mate? I want to speak to you. And I would have grilled him, right? So he glossed over it. He didn't want to go any further. And basically, I met the same wall with them that I meet regularly. They don't want to talk about it, right? It's taboo, it's uncomfortable listening, and they don't want to get involved. They don't want to be caught out, and no one wants to talk about this. Well, when I was about 3, we had no fence between us and the neighbours, and I used to sit in a puddle in a swing park in the mud and dig the garden with my hands, right? And I used to, like, you know, anything I found I put in my mouth, beetles, anything, dirt, stones. But I would always do things that were considered beyond me as a child, i.e. climbing, lifting, digging, whatever. And my dad said to the neighbour, always the hard way. Everything that he does, always the hard way. Now that's interesting because my dad's nearly 80, and although we don't have a great deal of a relationship, he's still my dad. He's a good, he's a hard working man, he always was. But to this day he says, Alex, everything you do the hard way. Loch Lomond Pirate. It's a great name. All I've thought about for the past week is pike fishing, by the way. I've got plans. So he said everything the hard way. And that would probably reflect on times in my life as well, because a normal job, like a normal apprenticeship, wouldn't do anything for me. It didn't motivate me. I was going home at night and I had so much energy, my head was burst, and I just couldn't believe I had to go and do the same thing the next day. It was mind-numbing. And I do understand what my dad meant. I have made things in my life difficult, and I seem to set my stall up pursuing difficulty. I know, Mark, I miss the pike fishing as well, mate. We need to get back into it. We need to get a wee weekender arranged, 5 or 6s for the channel, get the rods out, and I'll bore yous all to death with my stories. Yous can make the tea. So, basically, I seem to gravitate towards stress, right? Sounds nuts, but I'm coming to terms with it the older I get. I find comfort in conflict, and I find that I perform better when I'm under extreme pressure. When things are uncomfortable, right? I perform better. So it's funny that I noticed that I'm like hypersensitive to people that are very subtly patronising me. Thanks, Mary. In the way that this character was doing it, he was saying, "Oh, you've got that handled, big man. Away you go and you go and sort that out." And I'm like, "No, mate. I'm a small fish with a very small voice, but I've got a big heart and I've got an even bigger pair of balls. And you've got a news channel and you've got access to it. So get me on your camera." No. They would be terrified of that, okay? Because the proverbial can of worms is gigantic, and he didn't want to know. He didn't want to know. He was like, "Oh shit! Of all the people in Rochdale that could walk up to us, what's the crack here? Right? Who's this guy? Why has he singled me out? How's he not went to Sky? Sky are bought. Sky are fake news. They're bought and paid for. They're scripted. I gave you an opportunity to engage with me, and I'm going to validate this, right? See everything that's going on just now, with all of the sleight of hand and Sunak making the big statements about how we all need to come together and not let George Galloway's politics divide us. Sunak's 10 times the parasite Galloway will ever be. Say what you want about Galloway, okay? He's a highly articulate speaker. Darkness Secrets, don't bring that mad chat here. Hope it's a bit of banter. So basically George Galloway was going on and on about, you know, what he wants to do and who he's representing, and he's got dirt on all of them because he's been in the mire with them, he's been in the mix. So what you find, right, is Sunak's now appeasing the British public. Now it's about all of us, right? So now he was encompassing all of us. Oh, we all need to stand together. You and I are the same. It's no longer us and them, okay? Sunak, what he was doing, classic gaslighting tactics on a political level. Good man, Darkness. It was just basically just telling us all what we want to hear, humouring us, but in a very subtle way. He was digging at Galloway, okay? Do you know why? Because he's shook. He's scared. Here's Galloway, who saw the opening, the Palestinian thing, the opening, right? That's my route to market. That is my conduit back to the mainstream political world. And boom, he took his opportunities. Here's an opportunist, Galloway, and he's been sat there, you know, stalking the waters, waiting, and then he goes. So Sunak, for all his education and all his clever flattery, he gave the game away massively. Now, everybody thinks all of this stuff's so important, right? But still, we're glossing over the fundamental problems in this country. Mass immigration, a ridiculously open border policy, no criminal checks. If people are going to come here and it seems that they're going to come here, then at least let's get to the bottom of the percentage among them who are listed criminals or Interpol wanted criminals or whatever, okay? Let's get to that at least. That is not to say, like some people say, all of these people come off the boats are, you know, military-age soldiers and all the rest of it. Yes, I understand why they do, because there's very few women and children among them. And if you were exiting, you know, a dangerously oppressed country, you would be taking the women and kids first. So why are they not? It does beg the question. But not all people that come in are dangerous. Some of them are running from oppression, just the same way as it's ridiculous to say all Muslims are terrorists. That's also been said in the mainstream over the years by, you know, people with questionable platforms themselves. However, culturally, the waters are now murky because being a Christian Western country, you know, we have an age of consent, and the fact is the waters are now very muddied. So the can of worms that your news anchor man basically talked about is a big one. And the problem that I have is that he immediately knew what I was talking about, right? But he didn't want to know. He did not want to go there. And I understand that. I completely understand it. They don't want to go there. I'll go one further. I was on a large podcast platform, and that podcast platform shares multiple copy and pastes and cuts and clips of all sorts of characters and colourful characters, but never ever has one been shared of me and my argument. And I don't take that personal. I just understand that it is a can of worms. It's a tricky, you know, subject. It's a very divisive one, and it can get your channel struck, and it can do this and it can do that. Where I'm different from most people is that I don't care if I get struck, and I don't care what happens, and I don't care how they do me, because I'll come again and I'll keep coming. because I don't know when to quit, and I don't know what the word stop is when I've got to be in my bonnet. There is no stop. There is no, oh, I'm not enjoying this. There is no, oh, stop firing shots and taking cheap shots at me. There is none of that, right? There is only the beginning and there is the end. And everything you do in between is what sets you apart. So I understand why people don't want to platform this argument. The boys at Nail and the Fish have asked me back several times. They couldn't get enough of it. They want to help. They want to be part of getting it out there in the public domain. They're a small platform, but I chose to go on it at their offer because they're honest. I've been asked on a lot of platforms. I've declined most of them because you can get lost out there. And if it becomes repetitive, then it becomes boring. But if it becomes boring, then you lose your way. So myself and Paul and Murray were in the process of hiring a hall somewhere down probably South Glasgow, Paisley, Johnston, and we're going to be speaking about our chosen subjects, and we're going to be there a few hours, and it'll be an open invite on the day for people to come in and sit and engage. There'll be a question and answer session and stuff. We'll bring new material and we'll hopefully put it together well and deliver it well, and we'll get an engagement out of it, and hopefully it will become a regular thing. That in itself is at risk of being slightly diluted with other speakers that may want to jump on the bandwagon and ride our coattails, or, you know, catch the momentum of our wave. Not to be selfish, not to be greedy, we can't allow it. We can't allow it because we can't be diluted. Because the only thing that matters for us three is what I've got on the table, what Paul's got on the table, and what Murray's got on the table. That's the only thing that matters to us. It's our gig, it's our stage, and people that are coming are choosing to engage with us. I don't want folk coming and then being surprised when somebody talks about this or that and it turns into a political debacle and, you know, it's what side of the fence are you on. I don't care. Just the same way as I don't bargain. I'm not interested. I'm sticking to the script. I am only interested in being heard in regards to what I believe is the truth around what I know about this country's horrendous track record of dealing with the most vile of crimes, and none of this lessons will be learned. They learn from nothing. There is nothing being learned. We are taking away lessons from nothing. I want to change that, and I want to implement it from the ground up. Okay? If I'm remembered for anything, I hope it's not that I'm remembered for being a laughingstock or a fraud or a failure. I believe in it too much. I believe in it to the point where it is all consuming, and it's an enormous burden because it's in my mind constantly. You say, you know, you can't even decide if you're going to eat an apple or an orange without it being there. Literally, it's right there in the middle. And I'm writing notes all the time in my phone and my note, and I've got millions of notes. I need to collate it all, and I'm constantly, you know, thinking about how to reword something or structure it so that it grabs people and holds you. I need to get this right. I've only got one shot. The people with the big platforms can slip and trip and stumble, but they can come back and reinvent and go again, and they get the benefit of the doubt. Us nobodies have got one bite at the cherry. And for whatever reason, the first time round, you know, it was very difficult to continue to ride that wave because of the stuff going on in the background, but it's not in the public domain, you know, about being, you know, people coming after you and really trying to target you, you know, in a bad way, not just in a verbal, online way, in the physical sense of the word and all the rest of it. And I'm now ready to go again with it, but in a much more structured way. I don't want to be having to, you know, live the way I was living. I want to be very visible this time, because I have to back up the fact that this is up there with the 3 or 4 most important things that are going on in our society. I cannot believe that nowhere in politics or in mainstream debate, platform, televised or not, are discussing this problem. The epidemic growth in sexual assaults in the UK and child exploitation in the UK, stroke human trafficking, you know, labour trafficking, sex trafficking, call it what you like, it's all the same machine and it all comes under the same umbrella. Excuse me. And to kid on that it's nothing, to kid on that it is small potatoes or that it is localised to particular demographics, nonsense. Nonsense. Okay? The guy that's going to arrange the hall for us had suggested we put out a donations bucket or we charge £1 entry. I said the minute you do that, someone will yap that you've made it a bit of money. So the only way that will work, because the hall's 150 quid, where you've got somebody to pay for all the system and stuff to be heard, whatever, and maybe somebody to pay for setting the place up. So I said, well, if we're going to do that, then there has to be a public count on the day. It has to be transparent, it has to be itemised, and then, you know, we need to get this right. Because no matter what you do, you've got to cover every base because they come at you. The haters come at you. The haters come from all angles and they try and slight you and damage you and poke you with a stick and all the rest of it. They want to denounce you and they'll find any way to do it. Now I've got big shooters, I can take what comes, but I've got Paul and I've got Murray to consider and they've not been at the spearhead of that. How you doing, Angry Bootneck? Guys, that's a good channel, get on the Angry Bootneck. A fellow former Marine, he's got a great channel, he's got a big channel, way bigger than mine, and he comes on here and he contributes and he talks about all the stuff. He's actually a better speaker than me and he's a lot calmer as well. But no, he's good, it's a great channel, the Angry Bootneck. A bootneck is ship slang for a Royal Marine because of the leather round the old neck piece uniform on the ones, unless he wants to correct me. David Milne shared it, the Angry Bootneck, there it's there. Thanks for coming in, mate. So that's what we need to do, guys, we need to get it right. So we're going to start with a hall, like a church hall, town hall type thing. We're going to have our speakers, myself, Paul Connors and Murray, and we're going to go up and we're going to speak what we speak about here and on other platforms, and we're going to structure it in a way that you guys integrate questions and answers and we try and get somewhere. And it might sound mad, but we build a momentum from the ground up. So we can't have this guy trying to get everybody to vote for this or that or the next thing, right? We can't do that. We need to stay away from that, right? Because that is already not working. See, politics, it's all lies, right? And it's just the next person's shot in the merry-go-round to make their pals millionaires, and then it'll be somebody else, and it's just all shots. Sunak's unelected, Youssef is unelected, but they're running the country. So it's a lie and a sham, and that proves beyond doubt that these two jokers running this country are monetising all their own ideologies, ignoring everything else and not caring. Are we live streaming it? We will live stream it. My phone's to get sent away and it needs 2 new speakers. The people heard the buzzing when I was recording, so it's still warranted apparently, so it's to get sent away, so I need to get a stand-in phone that my stuff can be passed over on, like an older iPhone, to do me for 2 weeks, because it takes 2 weeks, then they'll send it back to me. It's a bit of a pain, but I'll get there with it. So I'm going to try and get that away this week hopefully, and then get the speakers fixed before all this so that it sounds good. I've been looking at these wee cheap Amazon vlogging kits where you get a speaker with like a furry hat on and stuff like that. I'll be honest with you, I'm clueless. He's not this anyway, I'm clueless with tech. I wish see if I knew how to edit, my channel would grow because my videos would be so much better other than me just sitting yapping. I'm crap at I'm crap at speaking. People are asking if they can donate phones and stuff, that, you know, old phones that I've got lying about. That's brilliant, because they'll go to the teams, and I know a lot of people in the decoy community, and there's always somebody needs a phone, always. But that would be, you know, I would give yous like a postal box to send them to. I wouldn't like give out anything personal. I don't do anything like that online. Personal information online for me is not a good idea. So that's the plan, that's where we're at, and we are getting somewhere now where the momentum's building, and we are going to be confirming a date soon. And this means a lot to us. It means a lot to us. You know, we're looking to do this properly and be well received, and not just, you know, it's not just going to be a rabble of people going up and shouting a rhetoric and all the rest of it. That's not going to work, because it's going to be structured, and it's going to be kept, you know, pretty tight, you know, and there will be a bit of control going on if anybody's getting a bit nuts and all the rest of it, and try to turn it into something that divides and that, you know, splits the room. We don't want that. We just want to be heard. And if we need to start in small halls, then that's where we'll begin, because I'm no proud. I don't need a big stage and a big audience, okay? That's it. You get the halls of the rich, you get the flats of the poor. We're in the flats of the poor, and that's where we're going to begin. And we're going to build our way up. But we'll get there. Because if we allowed the big success, and if we looked at me, oh, we'll never be heard by millions. See, if I believed that, I would stay in my bed. I wouldn't leave the house. I wouldn't do anything I want to do. I wouldn't care. You wouldn't know me. I would be an unknown person. I do believe that can be toppled, and I do believe it in my heart. And every week somebody says to me, you can't win this one. Well, that's wrong. And I don't want to insult anybody that thinks that way. That's fine as well. But you're wrong. Most importantly, you're wrong about me. You're wrong about me. You don't know the depth of me. I will not be denied. I'll be heard. And I'll do whatever it takes to be heard. There's always a way. There's always a way. You just need to find it. You just need to find it. That's it. You keep chipping away. You put one foot in front of the other, and you keep climbing. And that's it. That's it in a nutshell. If I was to believe every time I was told no, or every time that I wouldn't amount to anything, I wouldn't get there, I wouldn't achieve this, I would be in a very lonely, dark place in my life, having achieved nothing, and I don't know where I would be. I achieved plenty from a young age, and the last thing I did, and I say it now and I would say it to their faces, the last thing that I ever did was listen to any guy in the pub telling me I would never pass out a commando training. You'll never make it. It's crazy hard. You need to join the army first. You need to do this. The last people on earth I will ever listen to are pissed up guys that work 9 to 5, standing in a pub, talking keek drunk, telling me I'll not succeed. No chance. And I'm not dissing the guy in the pub, I'm just saying he's the last guy in the world I'd take advice from or listen to when it comes to me. That's it. And I'm still at my sons. My boy's asking me the now, you know, talking about work, money, savings. I'm like, it's not about money just now. You'll get the support from us, your parents. You don't worry about money. Worry about succeeding. Worry about getting yourself one step ahead of the other and getting somewhere. Don't worry about what you're making just now. Don't add that pressure into the mix. Add a little bit, but worry about succeeding and getting somewhere and spreading your wings and elevating yourself and growing and building a good foundation. Never, ever listen to the naysayers. The naysayers don't have the confidence to do what you do. If you even stand up in a room full of speakers and put your hand up to be heard, you have already accomplished more than all of the naysayers sitting watching you. The world's full of naysayers. They all tried to drag me back. Do you know why? Because they didn't want a boy from a village succeeding in passing something that perhaps they'd thought about but never had the balls to go and try. I didn't have a clue where I was going or what I was getting involved in. I knew it was going to be hard, but I also knew I had something in me. I knew I was made of different stuff. I knew that much. I knew that much always. I always knew that much. So I went. And I want that to be the same for my sons. And it's now the same, not in the physical sense, it's now the same to be heard. I'll be heard. I'll succeed at that as well. And I'll get there and I'll get a platform, and it doesn't matter if it's 20 people. One day it might be 200,000 people listening. You can't say no because you can't say because you don't know. You don't know. You don't know what's going to go wrong. I didn't think that night when I shared a video walking through a street in Glasgow that it would be viewed 100,000 times by the morning, and by day 2 or 3 it would be viewed 1 million times. I didn't think that would happen, but it did. Because it was something new and it was something different. And that's where you need to be. You need to believe in yourself. And the problem with this country is that this country's so-called leaders, with all this apparent power, don't want you putting your hand up in the crowd. They don't want you to be heard, right? They don't want anybody succeeding, because then you might catch them up. Worse than that, then you might find them out. Worse than that, you might blow their cover. You might blow their cover and let everybody know that the whole thing's a scam, that the whole thing's a sham, that the whole thing's a fraud, and that they never ever built any foundations. Their foundations are built in sand, and they're sinking. They're sinking faster than the Titanic, and people like myself are creeping right up the back of them, ready to take over them, and ready to actually stand there. We, the people, the working class people, right? Not divided by anything, united under the banner of the country that we live in, coast to coast, top to bottom. This is who we are. We're the people of Scotland, we're the people of England. We want a better life for us and our kin. You've had a shot, you failed, get out the road, we're going to have a go. Let's be honest, guys, we can't get it much worse. It's all about self-belief. It's all about self-belief. Remember last year, whatever I was telling you, to a little bit less sugar, do a couple of press-ups, a little bit more water, a little bit more crap food, cut out a couple of takeaway. Who done it? A couple of people did do it. They've been in touch with me. 1 or 2 of them have changed their lives. Astronomically, they've changed their lives. My poor friend Brian, that was a mod in the channel with David Milne, Brian changed his life. Unfortunately, Brian had an underlying health condition, went for an operation and died in the operating table. Utterly tragic. Early 40s, with his wife, Tammy, and his wee boy. Utterly tragic, right? There's no words for that. But Brian, in the interim period, between then and then, Brian changed his life. Brian followed a tiny little bit of free advice from me, because all I wanted was better for him than he was living, and he changed his life. Tragically, the gods weren't looking down on Brian, and he had this issue which was exposed while I was getting pretty serious surgery. Brian changed his life. Other people have changed their life, they're doing well. People messaged me, a guy stopped me, he said, Alex, that video you did changed my life. What bit? So I quizzed him. He said this and he said that, so he did. He was being genuine, he wasn't just blowing the wind up my bum. And I said, tell me how it's changed your life, and he told me and all the rest of it. I says, well, bravo, you've done really well. I was doing it to you. I said, it's not doing to me, mate. I just did the chat. You followed. You did the hard bit. All I did was recite. I just spoke. And he's still in touch. I hear from him. And we've never met, which makes it even more interesting. And he's going around telling people that I changed his life. He met a pal of mine on motorbikes up somewhere around Glencoe, and he's like, your mate Alex changed my life. I never, but he says I did. So it doesn't matter but what matters is that his life's a better one. That's all that matters. That's the reward, paid in full. His life's a better one because he flipped it right, and he believed in himself, and he went, do you know something, I deserve better. I'm going to get up in the morning, I'm going to do some press-ups, I'm going to get myself fit, I'm going to cut down the booze. There's another guy, and he might be on the channel, and I ain't going to say anything too personal, but he's massively improved his life, and I can verify this. But, you know, he is, and he commented the other night, and I know if you read this, you'll know I'm talking about you, mate, and I'm so proud of you for what you've achieved. I'm so proud of the fact that you've grabbed it and you're now in control of it and you're getting somewhere. And it might not yet be perfect and it might not yet be rosy, but it's way better than it was last year. So I salute you massively, because it takes guts, and you've obviously got the grit inside you because it takes determination. So that's why I believe in what I'm doing. That's why I believe in it. That's why I'm also very careful these days about who I align with. I know we will gain momentum, right? I'll go out, I speak well, and a few folk align to me. I'm fine, I'm fine, I'll accept that compliment. But when this works, and I know it's going to work, don't then come on heavy with your ideology and try and limp it onto us. If you want to do it, I wish you all well, do it separately. But I'm not taking this forward because I'm a political monster or I want everybody to sing off my song sheet, because that's the last thing I want. I want what's better for people, regardless of calling it anything under any banner or aligning to any form of socialism, capitalism, communism, fascism, anything. I don't care. I just want better for people. And I think it's way more easily achievable than all of these crooks would have you believe. They don't want to talk about the can of worms, right? Will I name another can of worms? The fact that children in the UK are being treated up and down the country for clinical malnutrition in 2024, while we're giving tens of billions away to foreign entities, that's a can of worms. And if I was the Prime Minister of this country and my children were fat and lazy and well fed, I would be utterly ashamed of myself if I knew somebody's kids in the country I was governing was struggling with malnutrition and their mum and dad didn't have the basic foundations to get some minerals and some decent nutrition into them. That is absolutely scandalous. Mouse Charger, thank you for the video in Rochdale. I had a good chat in Rochdale off camera with a lot of people. I've got some good content there, depending on what I want to do with it. I met some really, really nice, friendly people in Rochdale. I had a really good chat with a guy as I was leaving, who we discussed things. We got down to the nitty gritty, and he was like, you know, the immoral stuff that goes on in these postcodes, he was ashamed of. He was ashamed to say that it was his fellow countrymen and all the rest of it that were involved in it. And I said, listen, it's a problem that is here to stay, and the only way that we get on top of it is by hitting it head on and being public about it and being vocal and taking the lid off these cans of worms that everybody wants to keep closed. All your news anchors, all your newspaper editors and everything else, right? So I don't keep anything. I'm not keeping the lid on any of this stuff. I'm blowing the lid right off it. And that's it in a nutshell. Not because it gives me a living, not because it doesn't give me anything, believe me. All it gives me is headaches, but I don't care. I don't care. This is the trajectory of my life. This is the way my life's went. I'm going with the flow. I'm going with the flow. I don't need a fancy car for a Sunday to go nice drives in the country. That would be nice, but it's just not my life. This is my life. What did you say there, Angry Bootneck? Yep, I'd love to come on for a stream, mate. Definitely. Definitely come on for a stream. My channel is playing up and it's getting weird things are happening, comments and all that, but I don't know enough about it. I'm trying to build a TikTok channel. I'm almost at 1,000, at which point you can go live. So I need more people in that. It's AC Spartan _ CPT Child Protection Team, and I need to go live there. I've got a few things still to address. I'm going to move on with this chat. Rochdale, there are hell of a lot of good people in Rochdale. Keep fighting for what you believe in. I hope you do get a better kind of platform, and I hope you do get a better standard of living, and I hope a lot of the social and economic problems in those communities get addressed over the coming years. I really do hope that. Right? There's a hell of a lot of good people in these communities. My issue with Police Scotland, although ongoing in the civil sense, which is now me pursuing them, their case came to an end with me after 5 long years. And Matt Legg, you don't need to do that, big man, but I love you, you know you're my mate. And big shout out to Matt Legg, guys, who did a live on Kevin Lane, who said his licence conditions revoked. Kevin's got a book out, you know, fitted up, he was put back in jail. He was a toe rag in his day, but by all accounts he's actually completely innocent in this one. I'm quite vocal. If I didn't think he was, I'd say so. I actually truly believe Kevin's completely innocent in this one. I do. And it's of no benefit of me to say it. But Matt advocates for him well. Matt covered it in his channel and 500 people in the chat. So Matt, appreciated, big man. I'll talk to you soon, mate. Matt's a good fella. I remember when I seen Matt in my comments, and I know boxing, and I was like, Matt Legg? I know a heavyweight boxer called Matt Legg, and I went and zoomed in his picture, and I was like, that's Matt Legg the boxer. What's he doing on my channel? So I reached out and we spoke, and we've been pals ever since. He's a good man. He's a great channel as well. His channel's absolutely flying. I think he's hit 50,000 subs or something. Deservedly so, because he keeps it, he sticks to the plan. Shout out to Matt and shout out to Kevin Lane. So, some other interesting things are occurring. As always, I'm not digressing away from what we've just spoke about, but I think we've gave that quite a lot of time there. There endeth the lesson. So, there's some really interesting cases going on in the UK just now. They're very interesting to me. And people like Matt talks about a lot of real-time crime on his channel. He covers all the old school stuff in London. And one of the cases I want to discuss now, which I want to give more time, I've got 3 or 4 good subjects for this week towards the weekend. One of them being the Emma Caldwell case in Scotland. Emma was a young woman murdered. The newspapers love to, you know, address Emma was a sex worker, Emma was a prostitute. Emma was a young woman brutalised and murdered by Ian Packer. Ian Packer offended all the years after that he killed Emma in the most brutal way, and the police couldn't do anything with him, right? Which is becoming, thank you Julian Jolly, thank you very much, which is becoming a very, very regular occurrence with both the Met and Police Scotland. Let me explain, okay? Police Scotland are repeatedly having to apologise to families of people deceased and all the rest of it for their conduct. Ian Packer committed another 20 horrific offences after he killed Emma Caldwell. Emma's mum's now got justice, remarkable woman. You'll see her trending on TikTok and stuff about her speak. She said, it was always worth pursuing because Emma was worth it. My daughter Emma was worth it, regardless of the personal things going on in her life. Absolutely, Mrs. Caldwell, respect to you. So, an utterly horrendous case, right? Packer, narcissistic psychopath, okay? Stone cold killer. Sat with Samantha Pauling. I know Samantha Pauling personally, the journalist. She came out to me when the Glasgow stuff was going on. Fantastic journalist. She's did some incredible stuff on YouTube. She sat and quizzed him, looked in the eye. I've got a message on my phone from her a couple of years ago saying he is 100% guilty, without a doubt in my mind. He's a stone cold killer. Okay, that was like 3-4 years ago she said that about him. Accurate description of him. Bear in mind she's been face to face with him. Horrible, horrible, brutal man. A brutal man. A modern day Ian Brady, Peter Sutcliffe, you know, all rolled into one. just a brutal human being. Very dangerous. Thankfully now he's going to do 36 years recommendation. He'll die in prison, and rightfully so. Should never ever be considered for parole. But Police Scotland's handling of it was atrocious at times. One of the officers had a group of Turkish gangsters in the frame for it and spent fortunes putting them under surveillance and convinced everybody that these guys were the guilty party while Pat Packer went loose. He's never ever been brought to task for that. Right, just the same way as I always do, another shout out to the Bonner family in the East End of Glasgow for the handling of Rhys Bonner's case. Where's Stephanie Bonner? Where's Scott's apology? Where's Linda and Stephen, his grandparents? Where's his wee brothers and sisters? Where's the compensation? Where is the acknowledgement that he's absolutely catastrophically messed up with that case? Where is the one-on-one apology for dragging a young man's body with a rope round his waist out of a marshland 200 feet to dry ground so he's going to get your trainers dirty? Despicable handling of a young man's life, right, the end of his life, and despicable handling of a crime scene. The outcome is, right, no crime and all the rest of it, absolute nonsense. I've been on this planet long enough that I know that was a crime scene and it was highly contaminated. Postcode policing, I've discussed it many times. So that is all subject matter. I need to speak to Steph and Scott and ask them permission if I can actually go in more depth and discuss this exclusively on the channel to draw more traction to it, because every little bit of traction to Rhys Bonner's case is beneficial to the family. They have been heard in Holyrood eventually. Stephanie handled that, with absolute class. She went up there under immense pressure and spoke in front of all of these hoity-toities, and she held her own, which must have been horrific. So, so there's a lot going on. There are so many cases just now in the UK where the public have been failed catastrophically. The Met are in meltdown. I can't say who, but the other night I had a long conversation with a serving Met officer, face to face, and I'm not going to say my heart went out to him, but I absolutely felt the burden and the pressure that this man was experiencing, being in the job a long time, and just the utter failure of their superiors and the upper management and all of them, that sit up there and hide in the shadows, expecting the world from their officers, but cutting them off at every single turn, demonetising them, defunding them, changing the structure all the time, setting, outrageous targets, just making the job extremely difficult. So things are going to suffer, guys. They're only human beings doing a job. Things are going to suffer. Protocols are going to suffer. Standards are not going to be met. These people are not bloody magicians. They can't magic results. They need resources. They need funding. They need time. They need expertise. Why are they letting all these 20, 30 year detectives, the old school guys, the flying squad guys, walk out the door retirement? They've got 3 decades of phenomenal policing skill that needs to be passed on to the next generations, not retired off and sat at home spending their money. It's madness. And I know firsthand that the military are also guilty in their absolutely appalling records of retaining senior level, elite level soldiers with every bloody qualification known to man. They literally let them walk right out the door. And I'm actually personally thinking about a friend of mine who they did that with, who was the most qualified man in NATO, and he's a legend in the military, and they let him walk out the door. So many cases to discuss, and I just, eventually, who knows, eventually somebody might stumble across the channel that's somebody that's connected and they join the dots and they reach out and they say, right, who knows why we do what we do. I enjoy shedding the light on stuff, and I enjoy shining the light on the injustices in communities, the communities that we live and exist in. Because let's be honest, no one in power's doing it for us. Stray Cabbage, that's a great name. No one in power's doing it for us, right? They're not doing it for us. Would you agree with me? Everything's orange, isn't it, in my world, look. Love the colour burnt orange. Keep unscrewing that, and all I need to do is this. What did he? What did I see there? Stray Cabbage. Stray Cabbage, it's Ronan Holden official. Is it? Is that you, Ronan? How you doing, mate? I was in your chat with Android the other night and I was passing you a few compliments, bud. Not that I need to compliment you, you know that anyway. You know that I hold you in high regard. Another guy that's channel gets molested from YouTube algorithm and silenced and demonetised and shelved and shadowed and all the rest of it. And I also see another guy who's not scared to call a spade and he's not scared to put his oar in and get his tuppence worth out there. And Ronan's been like that from the beginning. He'll not be bought. He'll not be bought. That's what I think. If I didn't, I wouldn't say it. He keeps it real. So, us with these small platforms, I've got a small, I think I cleared 7,000 subs the other day. It took me a long time to get there. It rapidly rose to 5,000 and then it just stalled. Whatever, my content might be controversial at times. I don't really like the word controversial. I don't think I am controversial, but I get hammered. Facebook, everybody hammers me. So, nice to have Ronan in the chat as well. Give Ronan a shout out, guys. Holden official. He covers all sorts of interesting subject matter, and one thing that Ronan is leagues above me on is he knows how to edit. So he actually, his videos are interesting and he's got different stuff going on, whereas I'm crap. I'm a biff at editing. Anyway, hope you're well, Holden. I hope the family's good. So we need to use these platforms to their absolute best, right? And I'm trying to grow things. It's not as easy because there's so many more people doing it now. Even just a few years ago, guys, I had everybody on my channel. I had 200,000 followers on Facebook, and there was nobody else doing what I was doing, speaking like I was speaking. Now everybody's a truth speaker, or whatever, a free speaker. Truth speaker, I don't really, I'll not say that. A free speaker. Everybody's now a free speaker. Everybody's now a salesman. Everybody's now got a platform. So we're now fighting to up our game and stay relevant. And you're trying to steal a little portion of the online viewers that might be available while you're live. So I'm just trying to grab a little bit for myself. Always happy to promote other good channels that I follow. I follow Holden. I don't follow many other channels. I follow a few. You know, I've got a couple of mates in YouTube and I follow them. They know who they are. So I'm happy to promote them, but I try and concentrate on what I need to say and when I need to say it. I'm going to be bothered for a while. Thank you, Stevie Jones. I'm consistent. Consistent's a much better word, Stevie, than controversial, so thank you. I'll take that one, mate. I need to continue, guys, because there is so much wrong, okay, and there is so little that's right. There is so little that's right just now in the UK, and everything's wrong. Everything's wrong. Everybody's got their heads down. I just went to a shop there and a bag of Revels was £3.60. I'm saying that with a straight face. And the same, I love red salmon, right? Tins of wild salmon. I love it. It's dear, but I love it, and it's a wee treat. I eat it right out of tin. The tins that were £4, that were that size, are now half the size and they're still £4. Okay? Thanks, Amy. I'll try and stay direct. And I'm like, how can that how can that wee tin of salmon be the same price as the big tin of salmon last month? Everything's the same. Steve Pollard at the Good Food Project, you'll find him on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, is doing fantastic things. Talking about fruit the other day, and the apples, the pink ladies, the apples are covered in wax to make them shiny and make them look more lovely, and all the fruit's covered in wax. Pour some boiling water on it, watch it run off. It preserves it, it keeps it fresher apparently, but you're consuming that and it's like carnauba wax. It's basically sex wax you put in a surfboard. It's absolute not, it's not for human consumption. Why is everything a lie? Why is every single thing a scandal? Why is every single nook and cranny that we look under, every stone we unturn, gets something or somebody hiding under it that's up to nae good? Nae good. Why is that? Why is it? I'll tell you why. Because it's dead easy. I'll tell you another reason. There's no comeback to them. The banking crisis in 07, where are all the bankers? No one ever went to jail, right? No one gets held accountable in this country. No one gets held accountable. No government gets held accountable for dragging us into another recession. This is not the public's doing. You get your wages, you live and you spend. We're always contributing. They're always taking out. The balance needs to readjust, because you can't keep putting in when someone keeps taking out. Eventually there's going to be nothing left. Okay? They've failed us. They've dragged us into another recession. So when are we going to implement a change? No one is held accountable. No one's ever held accountable. Ever held accountable. I mean truly accountable. The gulf between the poor and the rich grows astronomically. We flounder in the mire. We're in the quicksand. The high streets are dead. Now they're monetising every high street in Scotland and Edinburgh, Glasgow and Edinburgh, England. With ANPR, with fines, with this, with that, with the next thing, with ULEZ controls. Half the time you're driving, you don't even know you're in an ULEZ zone. The signage is so, conspicuous. Our every living breath is getting monetised. Where does it stop? What is the straw that's going to break the camel's back? When are we going to consider ourselves decent enough that we deserve better and want better for ourselves? When is that going to occur? I spoke quickly about my case with Police Scotland, okay? So eventually I get that sent back to me, right? A UK driving licence, handsome bugger on the front there. And you might say, well, that's small potatoes. I've never been in a courtroom and been disqualified for driving. Never. Never ever. But for 5 years, my driving licence was medically revoked by a fraudulent police officer that lied. And the system would not let me reinitiate my driving licence. I won't incriminate myself, guys, but I'll say one thing. I'm hell of a resourceful guy. I'm hell of a resourceful guy, right? I educated myself over the last 20 odd years to be resourceful, okay? So when I've got absolutely nothing and the world's on top of me, I know how to survive. I know how to survive. And I know how to get by, and I know how to eat, and I know how to do what I need to do, okay? That little thing there is small potatoes, but do you know what's massive? The principle. I've got evidence stacked mountain high, okay? Mountain high, that suggests a major conspiracy against me by authorities working in conjunction with one another to defraud me and criminalise me because they don't like the truth being told. That's it. Small potatoes, you might think. No, not the case, okay? Not the case at all. That little thing there created a storm, and it gave me an intricate understanding of how a conspiracy can be conducted and implemented on a member of the public. All the calls, I'm requesting all the calls be downloaded and sent to me as evidential in a case against them. Not a civil case, a criminal case for conspiracy. Fact. I could elaborate and I could tell you everything, but I won't. I'll save it because I will be revealing it. I will be revealing what they've done to me. You won't believe this. You will not believe what's went on behind the scenes of my life for the past few years with this mob. You won't believe it. Because if somebody was telling me, I'd be looking at them going, is he having me over here? Or is he a bit cuckoo? The thing is, guys, I can verify this in my full capacity, and better than that, I've got a witness to the majority of the calls and everything else. I've got a witness to all of this going back all this time. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But we got there in the end. So that's an interesting subject that I can't wait to put it all together and get it out there. And I'll tell you why, okay? I could put it to bed and leave it. But it's not about me. It's already greater than me. Let me explain why. I told you earlier that I'm a strong, resourceful, strong-willed, thick-headed, resilient kind of person. That's probably a slight understatement. I know the depth of myself, and I know that you can bash me on the head for a long, long time before I'll ask you to stop. I'm just built that way. They thought they would trip me up and crush me and all the rest of it and criminalise me and monetise me. And they had 5 criminal charges against me under the Road Traffic Act. And all of it, collectively, was put in the bin. Okay? All of it put in the bin. I wonder why. Why is me? I am the why. Because I refused to accept any offer, any conditional, any deal. I told them to ram it. As politely as I could, I told them to ram it. Okay? I would rather fall on my own sword. I would rather cut my nose off to spite my face. That's who I am. And I never floundered. And it backfired on them. And the little scumbag parasite couldn't even lift his head out of the books and give us an acknowledgement or an apology. You don't get an apology. Doesn't happen. Okay? So that's why I know I'm made of stronger stuff. That's why I know that I'm okay with myself. I'm okay looking in the mirror and saying, you're an absolute stubborn pig. But it's fine, because sometimes it gets you over the line. Right? Unfortunately, you can't teach stubborn. We either are or we are not. Anyway, that's small potatoes, guys, but it was a big win. Honestly, I would love to tell you everything, but it's just a little bit early for it. But it was such a big win. It really was. And folk will say, I don't really understand why it's such a big deal. Honestly, it was a massive deal. If I was a weaker man, if I was a weaker individual, a weaker person in here, that would have tipped me over the edge. There is a possibility that I could have imploded. I could have resorted to drowning my sorrows in booze and drugs. I could have ended my life. I could have ended in jail. All of those things could have been an outcome, which I believe is what they want, because that's how they generate the system. We're the fodder that they want to poke with the stick and get on the bait, and okay, it's us. So no, I'm not part of that, and I'll never be a pawn for anybody. I'm not a part of your jigsaw. You don't pick me up and place me down wherever you like. That's not happening. It's not happening. I don't fall under that banner. I'm not governed by that. I'm not governed by fools with wigs and suits and silly rule books that address one another with ridiculous titles. I'm not part of that. Okay? I'm not a circus act. Moving forward, I'll get some, I'm going to be getting some bits and bobs, hopefully. I've got some stuff to do in the next couple of days that I need to clear my feet with. And then I'm going to get like some little bits and bobs for doing this stuff that might make things better. I am going to have to, there's my battery ran out. How you doing? Bad Blood Podcast, shout out to those guys, the Bad Blood Podcast. I am going to have to learn how to do the CapCut stuff, okay? And learn how to edit and stuff. And I know somebody will say, I'll show you how you do it, it's dead easy. Guys, honestly, right, I'm an absolute biff. I'm a biff at this stuff. But I'm open to learn. So I do need to practice, and I'll learn as I go. It'll take me a bit of a while, but I'll get there. And I'll do my best as always. What else was I going to say? Another subject I wanted to discuss, but we'll keep that. I'll sit in that one just now. I'll sit in that one. Can't believe we're into March already. Unbelievable. It really is. Yeah. There's a lot going on. An awful lot going on. Yeah, mouse charger, that's what I'm just going to download that CapCut, it's called. And then I'm going to like, because so see what I want to do, right? That's what I need to ask you, I need to ask you something. I want to work out, like, while I'm talking here, say I was talking about the Emma Bonner case and I wanted to show something and take the screen so you don't see me see it. And then you put it in and then it comes back to me and then I show you another. I want to learn how to do that, right? I know that's maybe not how you explain it, but honestly I haven't got a clue. That aside, CapCut's good. OG, I probably need to get a call with you, mate, and an actual, you know, a wee FaceTime or something, because I'm an absolute dinosaur. You're going to laugh when you realise how much of a dinosaur I am, honestly. Aye, I'm terrible with tech. Ask me to shoot you for 2 mile away, no problem. Honestly, I can do that any day of the week, but nah. Anyway. IOG will get in touch. So, what I was going to say, right, was... Oh shit, no, I forgot. No. It's to do with the editing and the tech and stuff. So this is the question, right? I need to start writing things down. My memory's terrible. So I need to know if anybody on the channel, right, is a tech person or knows about app development, right? If you know about app development, what are you saying in the comments about me? Yeah, buggers. So, I'm looking for somebody that can develop an app, right? I'm not difficult to work with, but I'm extremely pernickety. And you might say, well, you don't know anything about tech, so you need to wind your neck in. I am difficult to work with, alright, because I've got OCD with this stuff, and I know exactly what I want. I'm not going to tell you what my idea is. That will come out in time. But I've got an idea which is way bigger than my life will ever be, right? It's massive. Tinkerbell, that's an interesting one. So I'm looking to implement an app. I'm looking to develop an app, okay, for a very particular purpose. And I cannot believe that it's not out there, right? It's like a Dragon's Den kind of idea. And I need to get in front of the right person. I know who that person is, and I've been searching where they live, business locations in the UK, and how to present myself in front of them, okay? Derry Shorts, we're in East End of Glasgow and support you. Can you, Derry Shorts? How can you support me? What is it you do, bud? The app would be for Apple. I'm on Apple, David. I didn't know there was a difference between Apple and Android, mate. I'm literally clueless. Honestly. I'm doing well to get this bloody channel going. CapCut, right, Derry? Well, hit me up, mate. Drop me a message or something. I want to grow this. You know, I've always kind of held back with the online stuff because I'm not good at it. But it's bizarre because I'll throw myself into anything in the physical sense. I'll face any problem. But when it comes to a computer, I start shitting bricks. I'm literally terrified of a computer. It's madness. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, I don't know how to do that. My mate used to show me 20 times how to do something. I've never owned computers. I never had them when I was young. I never played games, so I've got no understanding of it all. You know, I'm just no good with it. But what I do have, guys, and I don't mind saying it, I've got a very, very high functioning creative brain. My brain's very creative. I can look at anything and I see something and I go, I could do something with that, or I could do something with this. For instance, earlier, while I was just drinking a cup of tea, I thought about splitting rocks and cutting lengths of silver birch tree trunk and making like toadstools out of them and painting them up and doing something with acrylic stuff and epoxy resin. Just a mad idea I had. I don't know why, it just came to me. I've got a very creative mind that's always thinking crazy shit up. And I know what I want. And once the ideas, the wheels in motions, I'm good at getting it done, but this is not to make me money. This is about it's a protection app, right? I don't want to say it in case somebody hears it and steals it. I know what it is, and I need the right person. I need to get in front of the right person. I really need to get in front of the right person because I've literally took the lead off this, and it's now full steam ahead in here. I might get in front of the right person and they might go, nah, you know, that's not going to work. And I'll be like, how? And they might know better than me, but I don't think that's going to be the outcome. I truly believe this can be implemented and it can be rolled out. And I just can't believe that it's not been rolled out unless I'm super mistaken and someone else is doing it. But not the way that I've thought it up. Mine's has got intricacies, mine's has got something in it that I don't see anyone else doing. Okay? So, I know where I need to be, and I already know the person, right? But I'm like, how do I get in front of them and get all I need is 15 minutes of their time. I just need 15 minutes in front of them, that's all I need. I don't need any more than that because I've timed it. So I know the spiel and it's going to take me 15 minutes and that's it. And morally, this is extremely important. Morally, this is extremely important. This is out with business. The business aspect that may interest you guys is the ability to link advertisement to it. So your return financially would come from advertisement on the space. I'm only interested in getting the app out there across the population. At source, I'm starting to give stuff away here and I need to be careful, right? Because if I'm right about this and if I get this right, you would not be able to turn a phone on without this automatically being on it. That's where I'm at with it. You wouldn't be able to access online without it automatically downloading to your phone or whatever piece of tech you're using, right? It's literally at government level. So they enforce it onto the tech gurus to say you can't license and sell that product in the UK without this on it because of its purpose, okay? So it's all in here, but it's massive. I just need the right person. I know who he is. I know who the right person is. There's one guy in the UK I need to get in front of. Don't know how I do it, but I do it. Like I say, like everything else, I'll find a way. I'll find a way. And it is important, it's very important. And if it amounts to nothing and I don't ever get it off the ground, well, I know I'll have tried. I know I'll have tried because I will literally throw myself under a bus as often as I need to in order to be heard. So it means a lot to me. It's a serious game. So I'll be looking for somebody to help me. I'm getting a couple of designs done for the hoodies and stuff for my team, for the Spartan stuff. What else have I got going? You see guys, see in the chat, see when we're live, right? The comments are brilliant and there's loads of information in the comments but I can't read them all when I'm talking because I'm trying to remain focused on what we're talking about. But see when I end the live and I upload it to my channel, those comments get lost, right? And I don't get to go over and see them all. So it's a shame because, but see if I miss something that you really want to say to me, jump into the comments on the video when it's posted and just write for your attention, Alex. You know, start it like that and then I'll get back to you. Spartan's on Facebook, mate. Yeah, Spartan Child Protection Team's on Facebook. I'm not on Facebook. My personal Facebook's off. You know, it was just becoming a burden and I don't... It's repetitive and it's crap and it didn't have a purpose. It was having no purpose. So I need to concentrate my time instead of just scrolling at crap. I need to get these platforms to serve a purpose to me. Can I keep the live chat? I'll let us go. There's David saying something I don't even know. I want the channel to be productive. Spartan's got its purpose. It's an awareness page. This has got a purpose because I'm generating networking from it, hopefully, and getting to talk with you guys and engage and get subject matter out to the public domain. Instagram, I don't really use. I maybe post a picture if I'm up a mountain, but really it's kind of, I'm hardly on it. I maybe check it for a message if anybody, because I say he's messaged me on Instagram, I'll go on it once a week probably and check the message box. TikTok I'm just learning about and I'm undecided. I do think the majority of people are on it. There is a lot of bans on it, there's a lot of crap on it, there's some decent funny stuff, but I don't want to fall into the trap of being on it all the time looking at crap. I want to get busy and I want to get busy with important stuff and arrange my day better. And I know where I need, I know that this is, yet again, this is going to be another thing that consumes me for the next 2 or 3 years and I might never even get this off the ground. It might just not work. but I'm prepared for that, and I'm alright with failure. If it fails, so be it. I'll do it another way. I'll find another way. There is always a way. The day I stop believing that there's always a way, I'll stop existing and I'll cancel everything and you'll not hear from me again. There's 100 people in the chat. Thank you for coming into the chat. Yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you, I appreciate that. So, editing is a thing I need to get on top of. I need to learn how to do it. I'm grateful for anyone offering me help. My idea, I will in time reveal it when I learn how to protect it. I need to learn how to protect it. I don't want anybody, bloody hell, I must have just upset 4 people. It's away doing at 96. Sorry. When I learn how to protect my idea, then I'll reveal my idea. Some of you might kind of gather roughly what it's about, but it means a massive amount to me. Alan McClement's in the chat. Alan, I'll talk to you about this idea, because I know you're a trustable guy. You're somebody that's in this for the right reasons. Mo's saying patent it. I don't know, because it's in its absolute infancy, but it's extremely important, and I'm astonished that no one's done this. I'm literally astonished. It doesn't say a lot for the app developers, the tech gurus, the big main players in the tech world. It doesn't say a lot about them that they've not implemented this as an absolute SOP, a standard operating procedure right across the board. This should be what they think about in day one, and they don't, and that to me adds weight to my argument that the market against is far greater than the market for. Sorry if I'm confusing anyone, but I know what I'm talking about. So it's a massive thing to implement, but it could be done extremely easily, especially with the world we live in now with the tech. They can hear and listen to every word you say. The algorithm picks up every word you say, therefore you can easily implement my idea, and all the hard work's already done, so all they need to do is put it in practice. And it would be, I really hope I'm right. I really hope I'm right in that it's as good as I believe it is. I do hope so. I'm not scared of it of an egg in my face, and if they go, it's actually not that great an idea, I'll go, okay, I'm wrong then, but prove me wrong. Tell me how it's not a good idea. I'm going to take a bit of convincing that it's not a good idea. Well, that's kind of that one. It's one of these things that when they come to you, that you know your head blows up and it runs away crazy and all the rest of it. So, Rutherglen Blue, what's that? Rutherglen Blue, Nathaniel, hope it takes off. Thanks, mate, I appreciate it. And I think if I get it right, if I present myself properly, then it could take off, and it should take off. More importantly than anything, it should take off. If anybody considers what it is I'm talking about and what I'm doing, even in the slightest bit important, then this absolutely is a necessity, and it should be implemented with immediate effect. That's how serious it is. That's how big I think it is, not just because I thought it up. It's not about that. I can't believe it's not out there. So, CapCut. So I need to download CapCut. I need to get a spare old iPhone to use while mine's is away getting repaired. I've got a lot to do. And I need to download and start getting my head around the editing. I've tried to watch YouTube videos, but I struggle with taking them on. I struggle with taking the information in. I perform much better when somebody shows me. No more mountain videos. Darren, there will be, mate. I'm going in a direction, mate. I'm following kind of my heart. This is where I'm at. I'm completely consumed with this stuff, but there will be other stuff, mate. I will throw a few in. So just check in time and again, and I'll get some of that stuff done, Darren. And I have been out and about, but not in any great capacity that I would share with you. However, I'm going to be going up to Assynt for a couple of days and get on to Stack Polly and Sylvan and up around the Inverpolly National Park, the nature reserve. So we'll have a Canisp as well I'm going to do. Because a guy was in the comments asking me about where to park for Canisp and Sylvan, and I told him it's right in front of Canisp Lodge. So I'll get up there and I'll do a wee video. But cheers for asking, I appreciate it. I can hear a lot of noise. So I've got a lot to do, and I've got a lot to learn. And I'm always, were you in Ben Nevis, were you? Nevis, was it clear? Let me think. It wouldn't have been clear, I don't think. Well, on the summit you might have got a bit of clarity, but midway it would have been cloudy or foggy, I'm sure. I'm just trying to think what the weather was doing. I was obviously down south, but I keep an eye on the weather. Government UK, oh, I don't want to tell them about it. Geez, oh, they're the last people I want involved. Until it's ready, then I want them to be involved in the legality of implementing it. But really, I think the tech companies are way bigger than the government, and I don't think they've got any pull with them. That's where I'm at with this. I need to go to the head of the octopus. I know who the head of the octopus is. He's a known face in television and stuff. So I need to get in front of him. It's a headache. But nothing easy, right? Nothing good comes easy, and if it is easy, then it's not worth, doing, because I don't have easy days when my brain's engaged. So I need to get with the programme, and I need to dust myself down and get my big boy pants on and say, right, you're back in the mix, Alex, get your act together and engage your brain properly the way you used to and pursue this. So that's what I need to do. And do you know something? There's a guy in the chat, guys, Alan McClement, had said about sharing his page and stuff. When I see people like Alan talking and educating the public about their rights and about how to hopefully give themselves a better life, it fills me with a lot of confidence, and it inspires me, because he's changed his life around and he inspires me just by being himself and being the best version of himself. He gets on YouTube in order to try and educate people and help them, and his intentions are legitimate and genuine, and you literally can't beat that. Yeah, was the summit that bad? Oh, was it the reverse? So with Nevis, normally, although the summit clouds up, it clears very quick, and you normally get a bit of clarity and you get a great view. I've slept up there, and I've been up to CMD, which is the Canmore Jerrig, the Arate, and I've slept on it, Tower Ridge, and I've come down in the morning, and I've had clarity up there where you can see 60 mile. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. 15 minutes later it's black. It's a hell of a mountain. That's why I always say it's a stone cold killer. It will kill you in its easiest day, it will kill you easier in its worst day. You could go up there and get blown off it in July. It's treacherous. And people underestimate it because it's got a donkey track, a tourist route all the way up the front of it. Hell of a mountain. Aye, they're no kind words, Alan. I'm only saying the truth, mate. You're a breath of fresh air, and I salute you. You're a legit guy, and I think what you do is absolutely fantastic, because you're out there putting your neck in the line. I like anybody that puts their neck in the line, mate, and is prepared to take bullets and trolls, and you do that, and you do it for the right reasons. So I salute you. I don't need to give you pats in the back. I'm saying that I admire you massively for what you do, mate. Keep doing it, don't change. We'll get you on board at our talk. I want to get you a slot. You've got a right to be heard. And it's a new audience for you as well. Alright, so I'll be in touch with you. Right guys, all good. Hope everyone's well. Most importantly, I hope everyone's well. Hope life's treating you fair. And no matter how bad it gets, just remember that. Remember who we are and what we're made of, okay? We don't let them beat us. We remind ourselves that we're made of better stuff, and we stay in the fight however long it takes. That's who we need to be. So I'm going to get off now. With 100 people in, I'm very grateful. Absolutely grateful for 100 people that even wanted to listen to me. I imagine some of them would only be in to see what crap I was talking and see if they could annoy me, but I can live with that. Thanks to the admins as always, OG, Dave, Stevie, all the admins, I'm grateful for that as well. And crampons, always crampons in the bin at this time of year. Andy Taylor, hope you're well mate, hope you're great. Loch Lomond, Pixie, as always, Scottish Wanderer. Guys, I'm always grateful, right? I'm always grateful. Dorothy, I'm always grateful. We do have a voice, don't we? This is worthwhile, isn't it? What we do and what we talk about is worthwhile. Regardless of how small the platforms are, and if I've got 20 or 2 people in the chat, it's worthwhile. And I'll always believe in what we do. I'll always believe it. I believe it's for the right reasons, and I believe it's worthwhile. If we can help one person in this community, then that's what we do. We keep going, regardless of anything. Because they hate when we keep going, they want us to give up, but we're not going to give up. We're made of better stuff. Alright? So thank you all of you, individually. I'll be back tomorrow night or the next night. Okay, and we'll try and flip it around with something else as well. Okay, the Rochdale, what was that? Mouse Charger. Mouse Charger, I'm going to be talking about all of these things. I've covered the Rochdale quite exclusively on my Spartan page. I spoke about all the history with the grooming gangs and stuff. It's a tepid subject. It's not what everyone wants to talk about, but there is also a lot of good in those communities as well that needs highlighted. We don't want to be just discussing the bad stuff. So shout out to the people of Rochdale and all of these communities. Okie doke. As always guys, stay steady, striving. Alright, look after yourselves. Thank you and good night.